closing gong signaling the end of trading this Monday, the 6th of August 2018. Welcome to Business Nigeria. Welcome once again on Business Nigeria. I'm Yemisi Lanre Ido. Earlier, I spoke with Effiong Ekop, who is at the Nigerian stock market monitoring the trading, and he told me that it was hopeful that the market will close positively to begin this Monday. But we'll be joining him later to bring us updates on how the market truly closed. Well, the construction of Dangote Refinery is expected to help Nigeria save more than $7.5 billion through import substitution. Well, this was made known by the Executive Director, Dangote Group, Devakuma Edwin. Edwin says Dangote Refinery will assist the federal government in creating a huge domestic refining sector that could reduce importation of petroleum products and capital flights. Meanwhile, the continuous importation of petroleum products has pressured the nation's external reserves and induced depreciation of the naira. Well, that's one sector that is not holding its decisions even before the 2019 elections. That's the Dangote Refinery. It's still going on. And by 2020 or 2021, we expect that the refinery will be in full operation. But Nigeria will hold general elections about 6 months away from now. But the political actions are affecting a lot of business decisions, creating uncertainty in the economy. Well, this special report takes a look at the effect of this uncertainty on the polity. Just recently, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, raised its forecast for Nigeria's growth rate in 2019 to 2.3% from its earlier projection of 1.9%, driven by improved outlook on global oil prices. The IMF notes positive events that may drive the forecast from external reserves level at approximately $47 billion to declining headline inflation at 11.61%. The improved business environment is also a positive influence on the financial institution's projection, but concerns about the 2019 elections fuel uncertainty over the outcome and impact on the economy, putting critical investment decisions on ice.
The reality is that political uncertainty is something that is common across countries. It's common over time as well. So even if you take some of the most advanced democracies like the US, pre the 2016 elections, partly because, it was such a strange campaign with the fact that they had a completely left field candidate in Trump, and it was quite a heated one as well. There was a lot of volatility in the stock market, but also there was the economy itself reacted. But even that was sort of helped by the fact that the US economy is very sophisticated, and the lesson that tells us actually is that the level of uncertainty that we are going to see will partly depend on the strength of the incumbency and how likely it is that people think that he's going to be kicked out of office.
Businesses and investors are adopting a cautious approach to investing more money in the Nigerian economy, or even raising new money to expand their existing operations. In 2017, the stock market was the third best performing market with a total return of 43%, but it has returned minus 1.61% this year, a situation linked to the political uncertainty.
The capital market is very, very sensitive to events occurring in the socio-political and economic arena of every society. And if the political environment is conducive, of course it will be reflected in demand in the capital market.
High-yielding equity firms that would have raised funds and added to the value of the country's capital market are postponing their plans till after 2019. Companies like Dangote Cement and IHS Towers have both postponed their planned initial public offerings on both the London Stock Exchange and Nigerian Stock Exchange due to these uncertainty. IHS Towers, Africa's largest tower company, whose shareholders including Goldman Sachs Group, Wendell SA and MTN Group, has its biggest operations on the continent in Nigeria. The company is also not considering any new listing until after the 2019 elections. Interswitch, which had also planned an IPO valued at up to $1 billion and dual listing on the LSE and NSE, has also said the process will not be completed until after the elections. That's to mention just a few companies, even as data shows that foreign portfolio investors are pulling funds at an alarming pace, particularly from equities, and it's not hard to tell why trading has ended in red in the last few months.
Ordinarily, there should be a balance between the economic plan and political plan, but being in a measuring democracy, we have not imbibed a high political culture, democratic culture in this part of the world. So compared to the advanced democracy, so you see a lot of unpalatable activities from political players because they have not really imbibed high democratic culture.
Definitely, you will not take away politics from economy, and the market is a reflection of the economy. So really, definitely, politics will always affect the politics. But if you look at the generality of how the market is going, it's oscillating with what is the reports companies are trickling in, which is a result of actually the stability of the economy over a period of time. So definitely, politics will affect economy. Economy is also part of politics.
One would have thought that the uncertainty bug is only felt on equity investment, but the real estate sector is also slowing down construction and apprehensive of new business deals. Although it's one sector that's less influenced by political spending, it's mostly affected by the general economic standing of the country and the people.
In the brick and mortar, business, when political, uncertainty happen in any country or in any place, people want to be skeptical. They want to be sure whether their investment is safe. So because of what is happening in Nigeria, a lot of investors will want to, put their investment on hold.
Aside from political uncertainty, businesses are having to deal with rising insecurity across the country, owing to rampant herdsmen attacks on farmlands that have led to hundreds of people being killed and thousands displaced.
It's going to depend on two things. One, it's going to depend on the candidates and the extent to which he or she was able to communicate their plans before the polls. Because what should happen is that, business leaders assess those intentions and, to be prudent, they build in certain scenarios to account for the possibility of that person winning.
Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, will hold presidential and governorship election between February and March next year. But the increasing fragmentation of the leading political parties means no one is certain of what shape the elections will take or what they would throw up. Yemisi Lanredo, TVC News. Yes, it's a report that I went out to talk to people about and see what it is really happening. But let's put this into perspective, but we'll be doing that after the break. I'll be joined by Mokhtar Mohammed and Ayo Akinwumi here in the studio. We'll both be talking about how this is really affecting the economy and the implication of it all. We'll take a break. You're watching Business Nigeria. In Business Nigeria. Yes, we're talking about the political uncertainty affecting businesses in Nigeria at the moment. And let's put this into perspective. In the studio, I have the head research, FSDH Merchant Bank, Ayo Akiomi. Many thanks for your time, Ayo.
Thank you for
all the
having
time. And also market analyst, Mukhtar Mohammed. Thank you, Mukhtar. Yes, let's start from you, Ayo. In a structured economy, we would have the monetary policies very, very strong, the fiscal policies strong, and also the political policies really strong that they would not be affecting each other so badly at any point. But in Nigeria, it seems different. We see many businesses halting decisions just ahead of 2019. And what's the implication of this all?
I think it has very far-reaching implication on our economy. Businesses' decisions are taken with a view of long term. Because if you are coming to invest either in real economy or in financial market, usually you don't take 1 month or 3 months view, you take a longer term view. And the political decisions, which of course influence the economic policies and decisions that are made in the country, affect all those decisions that you have to do. So in an environment whereby you can't really say this is what may likely play out, then business decisions have to wait a little bit and see how the policies evolve before they take decision. And I think we've begun to see a whole lot of that now in Nigeria from both portfolio investors and then the people who are actually investing in the real economy. And what our expectations are just that we think that the political actors in the country will quickly understand the implication of the decisions they are making and then quickly do what they need to do to calm the economy and the market and to allow businesses decisions that investment to flow in freely unhindered by what
okay, just very briefly, I know this also happens in the developed economies. We see it when President Trump was coming into government. We saw some actors also holding on and trying to see what the outcome would be like. But is it that bad?
Well, I think it's more pronounced in developing countries. I mean, like Nigeria we have in this place. I mean, you've watched and read in the newspapers a lot of defections that have taken place in the last few weeks in Nigeria, and even politicians using certain things that are very critical to the development of our economy as a bargaining tool to force either party to do what that will promote their own agenda. So, and that's where the issues are. So if you do things that will promote the economy, yes, there is always negotiation here and there in politics all over the world, but then the overall interest of the economy should be what everybody is after.
All right, this uncertainty is mostly felt at the Nigerian stock market. In 2017, we saw that the stock market was the third best performing market. But at what we have now is not so. We see many companies halting decisions on listing. Yes, we know MTN is still likely going to list, IHS Towers and all others that we have heard about. What's happening?
Well, what we had in Nigerian Stock Exchange is portfolio investors. Portfolio investors come when the price is right and when they think they've made a lot of capital appreciation, they tend to go out of the market. They are not in the market for the long time. And that's basically what drives the market at that time. Once they see, and again, what again is affecting even the political situation is coming into play, but you need to look at the hike in interest rate in the United States of America also, which happen to be a stable economy with a good economic system that is devolved so much politics. So they tend to look for safe havens after making the returns here. So the safe havens is to go back to their own countries, and even in the UK, they've hiked rate for the first time. So it's giving them more returns, even just doing trading there, just doing treasury bill or putting in their fixed income there. So I think basically that's what is really affecting the market. Then coupled with the political uncertainty, which for me the political uncertainty is not something new. We've been here before. We've seen more volatility in the political circle than what we are seeing now. Now what we are seeing is defection. The other election we saw a room like if Nigeria is going to go into anarchy, where one party was saying, look, if we lose the election, we are not going to accept the result. There's going to be mayhem, there's going to be this, but we survived that. So we've been through this road before. I just feel that we'll go through it again, hopefully, if the political actors try to look at the bigger picture, which is the interests of Nigeria. The challenge we have as a country is that we tend to mix politics into the economy, then we tend to mix politics into security. But if you look at developed economy, they try to separate politics, and they try to separate politics from the economy and security from the economy, because these are the mainstream. The whole reason of having a government in place is to provide security and empowerment. And when it comes to security, you provide it. Then you come to empowerment, it has to do with your economic policies. And but here in Africa, what we see is the economic policy that the people have, the politicians have for the people, so the citizen is what they can get now, and the citizen themselves also is what they can get from the politician now than what they can hope for the future.
All right, one would have thought that the law of fairness will work here, where, you know, the fair attitude for the citizens will be working more than what the politicians have. But yes, the IMF has forecasted and a growth for 2019, 2.3% from 1.9% that we have now. I don't know how that's going to work if there is already uncertainty in the system. But first off, let me bring in Effiong Ekop, is standing by. Fortunately, the market has been reacting to results, financial results for the half year. So Effiong, hello, what's the market, what did it close like today?
Yeah, we see the market closed in the flat, indicator, 0.06%. It wasn't that bad, but it did not stay in the positive territory as we witnessed in mid-trade at 130. I tell you that a lot of things happen in the markets today. First of all, Zenith Bank brought in its half-year result and paying interim dividend of 30 kobo per share. And the investors think that's better. Again, we have a corn oil company. Its results came in late, and the market has suspended corn oil because of late submission of results. So that infraction is not yet accepted. So let me turn to Charles Fagroka, who is a dealer with Foresight Securities, so that we do more discussion. Charles, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You traded very well, and we see. Let's talk about Zenith. Bringing results to the market. Zenith Bank has been one company that investors are highly, attracted to its stocks. And with this 30 kobo interim dividend, do you think that the company is, performing very well? That it's going to reward investors very well?
Yeah, of course. Zenith Bank has shown that it's a leader in its own sector. Over time, the bank has shown to give good returns to its shareholders, and in terms of efficiency and management, we'll give it to Zenith Bank. So paying 30 kobo interim dividend, I think, is a welcome development, and I think investors should get more of Zenith Bank so that they can partake.
Okay, we should tell investors that this is interim dividend. The main one will also come, because Zenith Bank is one company that pays dividend twice in a given year.
That's correct.
Now let's talk about corn oil that is being suspended on the trading floor for late submission of results to the market. That's a post-listing requirement.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange has what we have just said, post-listing requirement. So if you are in a company that is listed on this exchange, it is expected of you as part of your activities, part of your performance, you must submit your result as at when due. And as at today, the result has not been submitted, so that was why the notice of suspension.
Okay. Well, let me say, I like that you still have some questions to ask me right now on market close. I'm ready for you.
All right, Effiong, I'll get back to you shortly, but let me talk to the guest in the studio. Yes, Ayo, IMF has forecast a 2.3% growth rate in 2019, and of course that's going to be driven by improved outlook most times on global oil prices and some other key indicators. But with what we are seeing ahead 2019, do you think this is possible? What's your take at FSDH?
Okay, thank you very much, Emerson. The forecast growth rate for Nigeria by IMF, 2.3, we think it's positive in the sense that it was an improvement over what they released in April. However, we have to put in context of the population growth rate. So if our population is growing at about 3%, given the figure released by the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics, and our economy is growing at 2.3, what you now have is negative real growth rate. So that growth rate is not sufficient to bring about inclusive growth rate, inclusive development in Nigeria. So what the government needs to do is to actually prove them wrong and then implement policy that will actually accelerate the growth to enable the country, the economy, create jobs, investors, investment activities taking place to ensure that we bring down unemployment rate that is close to 20% at the moment. A huge amount of people who are supposed to be working, they are out of jobs, and we even have very weak purchasing power. So the growth rate positive, but however, is still far lower than where we should be going, given our population growth rate.
All right, Mokhtar, yes, you heard the ECOP. The market closed flat, but we saw an improved closing last week because of the financial results that some companies posted. But for how long do you think we can sustain this?
Well,
very briefly.
The market is going to respond. Is going to respond on the short term. I don't see anything major happening in the market, because any investor that wants to come to this market now must look at the long-term picture of the market, especially when we are going into a political year. The result from Zenith was good. Ordinarily, that's the result that should impact positively. But we've seen other good results, and it now impacts so positively like we thought. And I don't think this will be any different. There may be a little bit of one or two movement, but I think they're going to be a slowdown. So going forward, we need a trigger. The trigger will come. And I think the trigger will come after we've seen the primaries of the two political parties. Then again, we'll begin to look at the personalities involved and what Nigerians stand to gain from them. Then we'll see the market.
All right, let me get back to you, Effiong. Effiong, you were talking to your guest. Let's wrap it up.
Well, interestingly, we have insurance stocks doing very well today. The likes of Hallmark Insurance, Niger Insurance, Equity Assurance, all of them came top on the trading floor. Charles, why insurance, the three of them that are really comfortable? Are we looking forward to anything happening there? Has there been improvement?
Yes, you will recall that their regulator, they came to the market sometime to reassure the market that they are putting strategies in place to ensure that insurance firms are doing very well, and most investors are getting to key into this insurance company. However, one most important factor that made us to see the insurance company doing well is result of liquidity. The par value rule that has been implemented gives room for a lot of liquidity in the insurance sector. That's why we are seeing most of them performing well. And I think it is good for the insurance industry.
Charles, many thanks for this. We don't have much time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Charles Fagroga is a dealer with Foresight Securities, and that's how we traded today, the first day of the week. Let's see how it will be tomorrow. Back to you, Yamisi.
Thank you, Effiong. And Effiong told us that the market closed flat at 0.06%. Well, one word each from you guys, one word each, because we have to close now. What do you think 2019 holds for Nigeria? Just a word.
I expect stability. I expect after our election, Nigeria will remain, and the investors will be pushing the economy for that.
All right, Mokhtar?
I share the same optimism with him.
All right, and I will have to thank you so much for your time, Ayo Akiomi and Mokhtar Mohammed. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, that's Business Nigeria. Just before I go, crude oil prices have remained mixed in the global market as dealers watch U.S. product stockpiles. At the London market, the Brent crude trades for $73 per barrel, up by 21 cents, and the OPEC basket crude trades for $71, down by 49 cents. Analysts say crude prices may tip upward as U.S. and Iran renew hot words. And that's it. I am Yemisi Lanre Ido. See you tomorrow.